Hey, what's up, everyone? So we all know there are certain people in the government who are consistently trying to strip away your God-given freedoms. What's worse is, these are the same people that swore an oath to defend your freedom. They think they can violate your right to protect your family. They think they can force their delusions onto your children. And they think they can control the media and hide the truth. But there's two things that they can't take away from you, and that's your self-reliance and peace of mind. Which is why I would go to My Patriot Supply. Having served millions of American families, My Patriot Supply is the most trusted name in survival, and for good reason. And if you go to preparewitheddy.com right now, you can save up to $200 on their best-selling 3-month emergency food kit. This emergency food kit packs 2,000 calories per day and lasts up to 25 years. And if you go on preparewitheddy.com right now, you can save up to $200. Once again, that is preparewitheddy.com. Thank you, and God bless.
Welcome to Shoot Me Straight. Dave Fields here with Jim Hood. Great buddy. He's been on before. Used to own Elevated Silence. Still own Elevated Silence. Used to own Elevated 360.
850.
850.
It was a plumbing and electric company.
Yeah. Sold that. Has done very well. He's also does jiu-jitsu with me in the mornings. Beats me up every morning pretty much.
Come on now.
And great man. Great father. I probably should lead with great father. I think great father is probably what you would consider the number one thing.
You're my biggest fan. I think we just should go ahead and wrap this up now.
Tell me about the new company.
Elevated Silence. So we did a relaunch. We are a suppressor manufacturing company. We suppress weapons, as much like this one here. Mm-hmm. And we did a relaunch because I brought on a new business partner that understands the things that I don't like, that I hate, and he knows it. Yeah. And he's really put us on the correct trajectory that I've always wanted, yeah.
Is he good with more like internet marketing side or?
So anything marketing, anything the way the customer thinks, the way they, from their psyche when they walk into a store and they see a display of some sort, what do they look for next? He eats, sleeps, and drinks that. That's his thing.
That's not your
things
thing.
That, no, not at all. Can't handle it, don't understand it.
You like shooting things.
Yeah. I want to make things quiet and go home.
Yeah.
With the same number of holes that I got there with.
Yeah. Now, I always say silencer, and you always correct me as suppressor.
If you're the ATF, it's called a silencer, because that's how Hiram Maxim did it back in the 1900s. 1920-something, I believe. Technically, they're a suppressor, because there's no such thing as a silent gunshot.
Okay.
It's only a suppressed gunshot.
Oh, okay.
Tomato, tomato.
Okay. When someone says silencer, sometimes they mean like that it is super suppressed of some sort, or
only the geeks like me would ever correct anybody and call it a suppressor.
Yeah.
Because my attorney taught me to be a wordsmith. Say what you mean what you say.
Yeah.
It's not a silencer.
Yeah.
They're considered silencers, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's a suppressor. It suppresses the explosion in that gun.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask some like elementary questions.
Come on.
So when the bullet, when it fires out, it's suppressing out, when it comes out, it's suppressing the noise at the end, or how does that work?
Let me geek out on you here.
Okay.
So there's two loud noises that come with most gunshots, but they happen so close together that it sounds like just one big bang. So inside of here, when that firing pin drops and hits a primer, it explodes and ignites the gunpowder inside that cartridge, which pushes that bullet out of the barrel. The instant that bullet leaves the barrel, you hear the explosion because the fire gets oxygenated. The next boom you hear is the bullet breaking the sound barrier. But it all happens that quick.
Yeah.
So there's actually two. What a suppressor does is it takes that initial blast of that explosion of the gunpowder and takes those gases inside the can, cools them off before it expels them.
Huh. So like inside a suppressor, there's little cylinders?
Baffles.
Yep. And that's what those things do. They're cooling it down.
Do.
Huh.
It circulates that gas, and there's millions of ways to do it. People are coming up with new ways to do it all the time. But it cools those gases off because cold gases don't make noises. Hot gases do.
Okay. Now, when you first got into it, what made you get into it?
So I went hunting with my son one time, and I owned 2 cans at the time. And when I got there, I realized I didn't have my suppressor on me. So I couldn't hunt. I couldn't shoot because I didn't know where my point of impact was going to be without my can, because I had zeroed it in with my suppressor.
Ah.
So when I got back, God put an idea in my head about a certain baffle stack. Long story short, we got hold of an engineer. He engineered it up for me because I told him exactly what I wanted. He put it on paper like it should be, because engineer I am not.
Yeah.
Made me 3 prototypes. We took them out and shot them, and it worked exactly the way I wanted it to work.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yep.
You just on a napkin, wrote some stuff out. You're like, here.
Coffee napkin, even had a stain on it.
Did you really?
Yeah. Wish I still had that napkin, actually.
Yeah. How about that?
But we're a young company. We're getting out there. It's a tough market to break into.
Is it?
Yeah. Especially when you don't know how to launch something like that nationally, which I didn't. But my business partner does.
Yeah.
He's a godsend.
So when you go and you shoot, isn't that, what's the term for it? Gentlemen,
You got to be polite. Shoot suppressed.
Yeah, yeah. You're like,
It's a gentleman's
we
game.
shoot like gentlemen.
Yeah.
And
You don't want to shoot unsuppressed. Like this right here, unsuppressed with that A2 brake on it. Man, it's loud.
yeah,
Real loud. It's uncivilized.
yeah.
Got to be civilized. Shoot suppressed.
Gotcha. And then that first one that you got, what was that like when you get back from an engineer? I know on my side of seeing your product come to life, as a nerd, I'm like, that's one of the coolest things ever. When you got those first ones back and screwed them on and shot.
So when you go from having that idea put in your head to holding the product, gives you chills,
Yeah.
because it's like, wow, this is the knowledge God put in my head.
Yeah.
Wow. And when it works, almost takes you to your knees.
Yeah.
Almost takes you to your knees. It's a very awesome, gratifying, just thankful moment.
Yeah.
I mean, outside of watching your kids being born, your marriage, things like that, that ranks up there.
Yeah. When we started Repbox, well, still to this day, what blows my mind is like I'll go to the bathroom in like the other night we were on a date. Go to the bathroom in a movie theater, and in the urinal you see like products of the urinal, and I'll see Zern on there, and I'll go, this product's in my software. The SKU is in my software. Or I'll get a paper cup or something. I'll look on the bottom. I'm like, yeah, this one's in my software. Or like disposable. It's the nerdiest thing ever. But to see your product in real life, what do you think it'll be like to see? Have you gotten it on the shelf somewhere before?
So we're in, excuse me, we're in Silencer Shop. We just got signed up with them, I don't know, 2-3 months ago.
Yeah.
They control about 2/3 to 3/4 of all the suppressor sales in the United States as a distributor.
Wow.
So the kiosks that you see in the gun stores that say powered by Silencer Shop, that's all them.
Okay.
So if we're with them, we're in about, I want to say 3,000 to 4,000 different gun shops.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you seen one? Have you seen yours in a gun shop yet?
Have not seen my actual can.
Yeah.
Because there's not many folks around us.
Yeah.
And for me to go to a gun store, it's like you going to a software shop. What I need to go in there for. But it's cool to hear people talk about it. Yeah. Hey, I saw your stuff on somebody's gun in Idaho.
Oh wow.
I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Do you think I don't know, like the different players in the market, do you think you have like a unique value prop, or it's there's something unique about elevated silence ones?
So we are working feverishly on a new project. Can't fully disclose everything,
Sure.
But if it works, and I'm the one that's going to swing for the fence. Swung a lot, struck out a lot. But if this works, we'll have made a connection that it'll change.
Yeah.
It'll change everything.
Do you trademark that stuff, or like?
Trademark the design on the inside. We just got another trademark that we're working on now. Not trademark, sorry, patent. That we're working on now on something that we put together that works very well, and it fits other products too. We call it our flash snuffer. It's actually a direct thread flash hider that mounts inside the can. It's pretty neat. Flash hider. So that explosion,
Yeah.
there's a big flash.
Yeah.
What this does is it tones that flash down a considerable amount.
Okay.
A lot of people make flash hiders, quick detach or quick attach
Yeah.
for their suppressors.
Yeah.
This is just a different way to do it.
Okay. Cool.
Just a little better mousetrap.
Let me ask you this: what's one of your favorite guns? Like total. I mean, that's probably like you probably have several like per category.
Yeah, it depends on what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Tell me what I'm doing.
Hunting elephants.
Hunting elephants. Probably something large like a 416 Rigby
Okay.
or what do they call it? A 458 lot.
Yeah.
Something that fires a bowling ball or kills on both ends, as a buddy of mine used to say.
A cannon.
It's a cannon. It's a handheld cannon. So, yeah, it'd be a large bore penetrating.
What's one of your favorite concealed carries?
I'm kind of a fanboy with Glock.
Okay.
You're not going to win any PRS matches with them, but they're reliable.
Okay.
And I like my Glock 43X. I like it a lot.
Okay.
That's my go-to.
Is it subcompact?
Mm-hmm. And it's been tricked out and got all the bells and whistles on it, and you can't really call it a Glock anymore. But in its heart, it's a Glock.
Yeah. How many guns do you think you own total?
Could not answer that.
Dude, I know. Do not break into Jim's house. I'll tell you that. Goodness, he probably has automatic guns that'll just shoot you and he won't even know it.
I wouldn't even know where to begin on how many I got. Heard a saying one time: if you know how many guns you got, you don't have enough.
You took that saying to heart.
Directly to heart. I like them. I got a lot of stuff I've never shot. I got a lot of stuff I'll never shoot.
Yeah.
I like to collect them.
Yeah. Colt Python.
Yeah, it's just a cool collector's item that, I mean, there's several thousand of them out there.
Yeah.
But I didn't have one.
Yeah.
I do now.
Dude, I've seen over 100 guns, I think, that you've had, and that's probably just
You've seen a fraction. You've seen a few. I love them. That's my. I mean, then one day it'll be currency. Hope not, but one day it could be currency. Yeah. Well, that's my car collection. That's my stamp collection. That's just what I like.
Do you get? Have you been in very many like 2A debates of some sort where people are like, oh, like let me tell you why we need to take all the guns?
I love talking to people that don't believe in God and don't believe in guns. Because then I ask them, what are you going to do if somebody breaks in your house? They said, well, I'm going to call the cops. I said, then what? I said, I'm going to pray. So you don't believe in God and you don't believe in guns, but the first thing you're going to do is pray and then call somebody with a gun.
Yeah.
Why don't you grab your gun and pray? Average response time for cops are what?
Yeah.
5-10 minutes, depending on their location. Average response time for 9mm is about 1,400 feet per second.
Have you ever been in ones where, well, because I know you went, I think it was 3-4 years ago, it was during a lot of it's hard to even, the last 4 years, it's hard to even remember what time frames things were.
Yep.
But you went to, I think it was an NRA convention or something like that, and I mean, just protests like crazy. And
that was right after the shooting in Uvalde. We did NRA in Houston.
Yeah.
That was, I've lived in small town Santa Rosa Beach.
Yeah.
If we have a protest, there's like 10 people show up.
Yeah.
This was a lot of protesters saying a lot of mean things.
Yeah. Like
I guess that's what they do.
Like you're the absolute worst person on.
I was Satan.
Yeah.
Because I'm going into an NRA convention.
Yeah.
It was weird. I got a taste of what the big city stuff is like.
Yeah.
I didn't like the way it tasted.
What's wild is it's almost like they're thinking you don't value human life.
Right.
You know, which ironically it's the opposite. You value it that much that you're like, we need to protect it.
I value our rights about it. I value my family, and I value other people's family.
Yeah.
This right here is nothing more than a screwdriver. It's a hammer. Yeah. It's a tool.
Yeah.
That's all it is a tool. Can it do bad things? Yeah. But so can a hammer.
Yeah.
I mean, if you had to choose a way to die and you could die by getting bludgeoned with a hammer or getting shot, which one are you going to choose?
Probably shot.
Shoot me and get it over with, right? But people think it's always the gun fault. No, not at all. I blame it on fathers, actually. Lack of fathers in the household.
Yeah. Why don't you think that's been the discussion then?
Because it's easier to blame an inanimate object than it is to blame someone. People love to pass the buck. Like, oh no, that's not my fault. That's your fault. Mm-hmm. Well, is it really?
Yeah.
Let's look a little deeper. We're like, do you have a dad at home? And it's sad that these men don't want to take care of their family, but that's a massive strain on child development when there's not a father in the home.
For sure.
It's horrible. It's saddening.
Super important role.
Very important. From shining shoes to tying shoes to filling up your car with fuel to shooting.
Yeah.
Everybody needs a role model.
For sure. Do you even think, like, during that time when you had those protesters, and that's the only time I know in your life, I'm sure you've had plenty, where you've had to talk with someone. You probably didn't even talk with any of those protesters. That wasn't a
Cops
conversation.
wouldn't allow it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't allow it. There was a line of cops, and that separated.
Yeah. Do you think if you sat down with guys that were just super anti-gun and had discussions, there'd be like some progress? Or do you even think that they even know how come they're protesting, or like what they're really protesting against?
If I had to just guess, because that was really my first, I can't even call it an interaction. That was my first experience with that type of protest.
Yeah.
If you had someone protesting that in their heart of hearts they truly believed that it was the gun's fault, but they were also logical enough to sit down and be able to have a conversation, knowing in the end, if we agreed, great. If we didn't, fine.
Yeah.
But if you find someone sane enough to have that conversation, there could be some progress.
Yeah.
Whether that progress is you pull them to our side, they will never pull me to theirs. But if we pulled them to our side, or if we just got up, shook hands, and agreed to disagree.
Yeah.
That's what this country has forgotten to do, is how to agree to disagree.
Yeah.
And it's sad.
Yeah. You can't really have conversations that just don't get super emotional. And,
Right.
And it's to listen to the other person, what they're saying, consider it, respond,
Listen with the intent to understand, not the intent to respond.
Yes. Yeah.
And truth be told, I get a little heated too when I talk to someone that is anti-military.
Yeah.
I was never military, never been shot at.
Yeah.
But don't mess with my guys that were.
Yeah.
I take that personally.
Yeah.
I take our flag personally. I take our national anthem personally. I take it all personally.
Yeah.
Because we do what we do because they did what they did.
Yeah. That's what we're in such agreement on, that and our good buddy Eddie, who's not here today, but
Slacker.
He for Eddie is like the epitome. He's really the example of, that's the guys that were out there doing it because they love this country and they love what they did too. I hear him on, I'm not a hero and him thinking like that. We agree to disagree on that one. I think he is. But
I agree with you.
But those guys were, them defending our country was the reason that we're able to build businesses and raise a family and safety and develop our children into the men and women they're going to be. We can't do that if, we're getting invaded by other, we don't have a military presence. We don't have people defending the borders.
We don't have people defending our borders now on our south end of it, but that's for another discussion. But if people would stop and think about, let's take these protesters, for instance, these anti-war folks.
Yeah.
Nobody likes war.
Yeah.
There's money in it, but nobody likes it. It's these men and women are going to fight and put their life on the line to give you the right to go hold a sign and hate me.
Yeah.
You're welcome. How about that?
Yeah.
Just you're welcome. They don't think about that. Mm-hmm. You don't like this country. I'm sure there are plenty of folks that'll buy you a one-way ticket anywhere you want to go. Mm-hmm. Be thankful that you live here. Are we screwed up? Absolutely we're screwed up. 100%. We got a lot of problems.
Yeah.
Still the best country in the world.
Still. Yeah, even who's working with us, Brandon, in South Africa, talks about how much better this country is than any other country he's been to.
And there's a lot of Americans that can't fully grasp that because they haven't spent any time outside. I haven't spent any time in foreign countries.
Yeah.
I understand what's out there, and I understand there's a lot of them that I don't want to live in.
Yeah.
I like it here. I like my freedoms.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not willing to give any of them up.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you on when people do anything to the flag,
Oof.
that gets me pretty emotional. I still could put that to the side, though, and have a conversation with that person, right? Very much, I can't sit there and watch that happen. I'm going to do, I'm probably going to, put that fire out or pull that flag away from them. I mean, that's...
I'll hit them with an extinguisher. That's fine.
Yeah.
Take all the oxygen out of the air.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to see that happen in front of me, but I could have I could have the ability to put that to the side and have a conversation with them and say, hey, here's how come that makes me, really stirs me up. But I feel like that doesn't happen very much. We have two people completely disagree. And it's hard for people not to just completely identify with, hey, I'm a Republican, I'm a Democrat. I'm a Republican, and it's like, dude, I'm a person, you're a person. There's more things I may agree with on one side or the other. But there's also a lot of things I think I would be Republican, right? Like I would be, I don't think far right. I think I'm very much just the only things I really care about a lot is economically, right? Like economics is probably the biggest thing that I feel like, hey, there's some right and wrong answers here. This is some math.
And math isn't exact. It's a science.
Yeah, and so I get more, that's where I would probably, but on some social issues, I don't necessarily know the right answers. I don't know, and there's a lot of stuff I don't know all the details about. So listen to someone that is a lot more liberal and to explain stuff to me, I can feel like I can be pretty open and listen and consider at least. I don't feel like I don't know, but I don't feel like most people are able to do that very much or do that.
Sane people sit and listen to the other side.
Yeah.
And we always blame everything on the far left.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of truth in that. It's no better than the extreme far right.
Yeah.
Crazy's crazy. I don't care what side of the aisle you fall on. Because I know a lot of extremist people on the right that you can't have a conversation with.
Yeah.
Same with the far left.
Yeah.
I think they're equally as combative.
Yeah.
So it goes back to let's just talk.
Yeah.
Put your differences aside, and if you disagree, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's what this country was built on, is agreeing and disagreeing.
Yeah.
And if we don't get back to agreeing to disagree, we got problems.
Do you think we're heading closer there?
I think with every issue that comes up, puts a bigger wedge in this country. Mm-hmm. We are not on a good trajectory at all. Don't hold me to this. I'm trying to remember some stats that I read. There's not a society that's lasted more than 250 years. We're 248, 249. We're getting close.
Yeah.
I would like to be the first to exceed that.
Yeah.
Personally.
If any society should succeed that, it would be the America. So
You would think.
That's interesting.
We've got a lot of problems that they've got to get solved.
I've seen and this is probably 100% bias from the type of people we have on and most people that I interact with around here and or in social circles, but I've seen a lot more people coming around, not just people coming and going, okay, I'm voting for Trump now, but a lot more people going, man, this far left woke type agenda is not good. And people that were at least previously silent or more vocal now. And I don't know if that's across the board. I don't know if I was in California or Washington or Oregon or something, not all of Oregon, maybe like Portland, maybe I would see the complete opposite and go, you know what, we're going further to extreme left or extreme right. But it seems a lot more, I don't know, I'm hopeful that it's hopefully getting more just balanced and reasonable.
I think that we have gone so far with different extreme groups, whether it be a gender discussion, whether it be a financial discussion, whether it be a Supreme Court discussion, a voting discussion. I feel like that there is such a large wedge that President Trump's got his work cut out for him should he get elected the next 4 years. Yeah. He's going to have to spend a lot of time prying that wedge out and we're so divided. That's going to be a hard pull.
Yeah.
It's going to be a hard pull.
You think if people could talk, just have discussions like that, or like get back to some similar? I think 20 years ago, 30 years ago, like there was things that everyone agreed on. There was like a common ground.
Mm-hmm.
If you were a Democrat, you're a Republican, you're right, you're left. Like there was our love for the military, our appreciation for America. You know, there were certain things that it's like, okay, that's just American.
Just human values.
Yes. That seems like that's dwindled at least.
Dwindled, chipped away, whittled away, however you want to look at it. Look at it this way. We got 535 people in Congress. They can't even have a discussion.
Yeah.
And they're running our country.
Mm-hmm.
That's pathetic. That's embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
That is sad. The people running this country can't even speak to each other without getting in a verbal disagreement that makes the news and gets blown out of proportion.
Yeah. What about the distrust against? I mean, is there anything you read nowadays that you're like, I could see it? Like,
use the assassination attempt.
Yeah.
People think it's a conspiracy. No, I just think it's that screwed up.
Yeah.
It's so far-fetched that you can't make it up.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different things that you see and read. And first of all, you don't know what's real and what's not.
Yeah.
They used to say, prove it. Well, I got a picture. Oh, crap. But now, I got a picture. Well, where'd you make it?
Yeah.
You don't know. Everything is so fake. Everything is so blown out of proportion. Everything's a, what do you call it, clickbait.
Yeah.
You don't know what to believe.
Yeah.
Unless you were there, you don't know.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
It's true.
Journalism is dead. Nobody reports just the news anymore. And what you do read, again, how do you know it's real?
Yeah. Like, in order to follow everything and, like, research all details, see every side, all those things, I mean, it's more than a full-time job. So, I mean.
And it's depressing. You would be on antidepressants if you had to research that stuff every day.
Yeah.
It's sad.
I'll have stuff come across my feed, and I'll be like, years ago, my very first thought would be, yeah, right. You know, like this person's an extremist conspiracy theorist. Now I'll read it and go, who knows? You know, no, I still, there's a sense that you're like, wait, no, I want to be a reasonable person, and this seems so crazy, like that it's not reasonable. But then the things we've found out that have been true that seemed absolutely crazy years ago, nowadays you'll read it and go, man, I could see it. I don't.
That's because unreasonable people do unreasonable stuff.
Yeah.
There is nothing that I read it may not be true. It's possible.
Yeah.
Men and women's sports. Who would have ever thought that was an issue? That's just mind-boggling, the things that we fixate on, the way people get offended for other people.
Yeah.
Why you get offended for somebody else? If they're offended, they can speak up.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
one thing that I really don't like, though, you're touching on it there, is I grew up in West Texas, Midland, Odessa area. Grew up not super uber poor, but for sure lower class, and trailer home outside of Odessa, and but more so than actual income was the mindset, and it was very much victim mindset, right?
Yep.
And I to this day can't stand it. Even if I feel like I'm a victim in something, like I can't stay there. I have to figure out, okay, Dave, you put yourself in this position, or like I need to own it in some way so that I can find a way out of it. I don't want to I can't stand staying a victim or staying. It's almost like being stuck.
Yep.
You know, it's like me rolling with you, right? Like I just get stuck. Right?
Watch it, Gumpy.
And I'm like, that's why it's so hard rolling with you. I'm like a victim.
Not at all.
I'm like, I gotta bring my leg over and try and.
It's like you grew up. We didn't have a whole lot. Had everything I needed. Didn't have everything I want.
Yeah.
Who does? There's a handful of people that do, but most of us don't. Everybody says the Lord works in mysterious ways. He really doesn't. He's got a book that tells you exactly how he works. It's not that hard. There's been numerous things, and I'm sure the same thing for you. There's been numerous things to happen to us, whether it be in business, whether it be personal. We're, by definition, we were victims. Yeah. Technically, we were.
Yeah.
But we got to take that victimization. Is that a word?
Yeah.
If it isn't, it is now. We got to take that victimization and turn it into something positive. Learn something from it.
Yeah.
Like if I go into business with somebody and it didn't work, why didn't it work? Is it me? Do I need to change something, or did he just flat out steal money? Yeah. Well, he stole money. Well, that makes you a victim. I know what not to do now.
Exactly.
Kind of like being a dad. I didn't have a father figure growing up. I had my grandfather.
Yeah.
He was, of course, much older than my dad, but my dad wasn't around. So, do I know how to be a dad? No. I know exactly what not to do. I got that part down pat.
Yeah.
Because that's what I saw. So, change that up. Don't be a victim. Don't be stuck.
Yeah.
Figure out how to move your hips and tuck and roll.
Yeah.
Get out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, and even if it's one of those deals, we're going to use jiu-jitsu in this probably a little bit, but even if it's one of those deals that, hey, when you're in it, then it's like it's too late. Well, now I know next time,
Correct.
Don't let Jim grab your knees and push him down the floor. Like he starts to do that. Now I know I need to react pretty quick. Even if it's a deal you're in a business situation, which I have, where you're screwed out of some business deal in an LLC, and you truly, it's like, hey, I went in there good intentions. I held up my end, even more so probably in situations. But, where can I find my deal where I go, you know what? I should have done more research. I should have paused before I agreed on this and really even sought the Lord in this to go, okay, should I get into this venture with these guys or whatever it is? One of my favorite ones was I was adopted when I was younger. And so when I got sober and I'm going through 12 steps and we hit the 4th step, which is going back through your whole life, resentment, sex, fears. You go through resentments, it's like, my mom gave me up for adoption. What could I have done? I was 2 years old. Well, yeah, I may not have been able to do anything like that, but holding that resentment, I'm now, at the time, I think I was 18, but it's like, there's things like that where, guys are in their 30s or 40s and they're going, well, this happened to me. I was abused. I was, whatever. Man, yes, you were a victim there, but you chose to hold that resentment, which resentment is really holding yourself in prison, not holding the other person.
Yep.
Even though you feel like if you let it go, you're letting them out. You're not. You're letting yourself out.
Much like forgiveness. That's you drinking poison and expecting the other guy to die.
Exactly.
Doesn't work that way.
Yeah. And it empowers. It empowers or enables you in a good sense.
Use it as fuel.
Yeah.
Use it as motivation.
Yeah.
There's a reason that a lot of people sit at the bottom with this woe is me and look what happened to me. They're down there with a lot of company.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people around there.
Yeah.
Get to the top.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I see that a lot with people that in some way or another that they're stuck, which I relate to staying there sometimes where I'm like, I feel stuck and months go by and it's like, you know what? I've been in this place. I need to reset. I need to get free from this. But I do see a lot. It's kind of the theme of, we're victims. We need to be treated differently. You have to change because of what's happened to me, or you have to approach me differently. You saw it. I mean, the Olympics, like when, and it's what I don't like about that is it's trying to push on others. It's almost flipped in the messaging too. It's like, you can't push this on us. It's like you're pushing that on
100%.
Which honestly, for me, it doesn't bother me as much because I'm like pretty, I know who I am, but my kids and their development.
What they see, they're influenced real easy.
Yeah.
Real easy. And it's hard enough being a kid in today's time. Mm-hmm. We don't need any help screwing them up.
No.
Let's put them on the correct trajectory, the correct path, and there's a fine line between avoiding the stuff that you see on TV and exposing them and teaching them.
Yes.
That's real hard for me as a parent.
Yeah.
Okay, the Olympic stuff. I haven't talked to either of my children about that. I haven't shown it to them. Probably should. I know what they'll say. I know they're grounded in their relationship with God. I know that. So they would be, I don't want to use the word offended, but they would look at it like, what is wrong with those folks? And why is it okay for those folks to mock Christianity? Mm-hmm. Like, who signed off on that? Mm-hmm. Who signed off for Bud Light? Who signed off on, I don't even know the person's name.
The transgender.
Yeah, the transgender. Where they lost $5 billion. Do these people making these decisions understand their audience?
Yeah, that's the very first thing. I was like, who is the marketing person behind that?
So hopefully somebody without a job because they're not good at it. If I sit and have this discussion with somebody that is anti-gun, I'm not going to sit down with one on the table and keep pushing it in their face. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to bring them a T-shirt, hat, and a patch. I'm not going to push it on you.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, you don't like it, and that's fine. Don't hate me because I do. Mm-hmm. Don't hate me because I'm a Christian. Well, I really don't care if you hate me because of that, to be honest with you. There's a whole lot of things we don't care about when we get older.
Yeah, but it's a good – I wrestle with that a lot, and I feel like – and I think most parents do. I used to say in counseling with other parents, it's like if you don't have guilt, you don't have values. If you're a parent without guilt, you're either a sociopath or you're the perfect parent maybe.
Show me that person.
I haven't seen them. But, like, as a parent, you have, at some level, guilt because you're like, okay, did I do that right? Did I, and in areas it's like, man, overreact. I shouldn't have yelled or I shouldn't have, I should have calmly, controlled, put them in timeout, spank, it's like disciplined and explained and I just, said, get your butt in the car or whatever it is.
And then they want to know why. Why are you so mad? I don't know.
Yeah.
When all you had to do is say, hey, I've had a bad day. Will y'all just stop and get in the car, please?
Yeah.
And do that for me.
But there's a level of, my kids are so innocent, right? I feel so blessed of this area. So grateful for men like you and Eddie and other friends that, they're around such caliber of men and women, and they're around such innocence, right? My kids are still really young. But, there needs to be some exposure and explanation and exposure. I don't want to shelter and then just release them into the world.
Because then they'll go berserk.
Yeah, and so I don't know the right ratio of that. I'm hoping you'll figure that out and share it.
I might be able to tell you that it works in 5, 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
But like you, when you tell them the what, you got to tell them the why. There's always a why behind the what. Yeah. And if you don't tell them the why, the what's going to screw them up. Yeah. The explanation. What was the movie Ocean's 11? He said, don't use 10 words when 2 will do. I think when you're explaining something to your children, use as many as you can.
Yeah.
Make them count. But use as many as you can. Yeah. Keep it on their level. Yeah. I got a habit of talking to my kids like they're 35 years old. And they look at me and go, what does that mean? Back it up.
Yeah.
And talk to them like an adult. But, dumb it down just a little bit where they understand.
Yeah.
Because if you explain it and they don't understand, you've wasted both your times.
Yeah.
And time ain't something we got a whole lot of anymore.
It's one thing where you walk through things with them and encourage, in a good way, challenge and encourage them, but not overextend. I think of, you brought your boy up here to roll with us a few times, right? And I think of rolling with Trace and giving him enough of a challenge to have him kind of push himself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which he's great. Like, he's got some tenacity in him. I love him. But, like, you don't want to just, use strength and
right.
You want to match him, but you want to challenge him to grow a little bit and push. And you also want to reward it too, and so that it's like, hey, you pushed hard, you went and give some rewards. And then also times, hey, have them come up and meet the bar. Like, you don't lower the bar for them, but you get them up there.
You got to keep pushing it up there. You got to give them something to strive for.
Yeah.
You don't want them to win every time, but you don't want them to lose every time either.
Yeah.
You got to keep moving that bar a little bit so they got something to reach and strive. And when they obtain that, like you just said, you reward them.
Yeah.
And then you do it again.
And sometimes I think one of the biggest rewards is a father. I'm noticing big time with my boy. He'll look at me sometimes, like he'll look at my clothes and he'll go upstairs and he'll match my clothes, and I'll see him like staring at me, and if I have a hat on, he'll put a hat on, and it's so endearing and scary at the same time, because you're like, okay, my actions are going to mean a lot more than my words sometimes. They at least need to be somewhat congruent, and
Yep.
But there's this sense of the biggest thing that can reward him, not necessarily like candy or, but it's just, hey, good job, son. I'm proud of you.
Oh, goes a long way.
Oh, and he will do more for me, just pat him on the back, grab him a hug, rubbing his head, and just being like, that's my boy,
You rub his head here now. Wait, you rub his head up here, like I have to now.
Yeah.
Went and picked up my daughter from dance yesterday, and she was talking about she had done some sort of move that was awesome. I don't understand that. It's not my wheelhouse. Yeah. But I was like, that's awesome, baby. I'm proud of you. Very proud of you. And she looked at me and she goes, that means a lot, Dad. Thanks.
Oh.
Melt.
Yeah.
She's 12. Melt. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just. And when Trace does something good, I do the same thing. Pop him in the butt, punch him in the ribs. Dude, that's awesome. Congratulations, man. Yeah. Like he's doing football. Yeah. So that's one of those things I can congratulate him on.
Yeah. Oh, I remember the video of when he shot his first deer.
Oh, my gosh. His first buck by himself?
Yeah.
Jiminy Christmas.
Yeah.
That was, I was definitely more excited than he was. Hands down. He asked me to calm down. I said, I can't calm down. You shot your first buck by yourself. Yeah. I mean, he had shot him before with me, but that was the first time I'd let him. I mean, you're giving a 14-year-old a high-powered rifle and say, let me know when you shoot something.
Yeah.
All those disciplines that you've been beating into his head, what good does it do if you don't let him sprout his wings and fly? Yeah. So that's what I did, and it worked.
Yeah. I remember you driving over there to get it, and you're filming yourself.
That was the only – I'm not a selfie guy. I'm not a camera guy. But that was the only way that I knew right then I wanted to capture all my emotions as much as I could because I wanted to relive the moment. Yeah. What you didn't see is when he called, I couldn't find my water cup. I couldn't find my truck keys. I couldn't think. My brain was gone. And one of the guys at Hump Camp said, Jim, just get in my truck. Let's go. Yeah.
We'll come back and get him.
Okay. And that's when I recorded that video.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That was cool.
Man, any advice for guys that, especially with, I think you nailed our whole discussion really was started with guns is really about, coming back to the lack of fathers, right? And being a good father and as men in this country and outside this country, with your children and being a father. If you had to boil down, hey, some top things that you go, hey, man, just get these top few things from my perspective, and they'll mean so much as being a father. Do these things.
So there's one big one that I use as an analogy on that comes to mind.
Yeah.
You know, you get on an airplane, they taught you about the oxygen mask. If they come down, put yours on first before you help anybody else. Mm-hmm. Because if you pass out and your kid sitting next to you, your wife sitting, or whoever sitting next to you can't get theirs on, you both are gone. Mm-hmm. So if you get yours on first, then you can help everybody else. Mm-hmm. So as a dad, as a man, as a head of your house, or if you have if the woman is the head of the house because she doesn't have a man, put your mask on first. Get your thoughts right. Get your life right. Take care of yourself quickly and efficiently before you can take care of something else. Put your mask on first. Because if you don't have your mask on first and you're screwed up, how are you gonna capture the attention of your kid or get a hold of the attention of their friends that are over there that see you as an example, and then you prove that wrong? It's all about leading by example.
Come on. Come on. That's a word right there.
It's all about what do people see. If you're living your life right and somebody else doesn't like it, that ain't on you. That's on them. If somebody gets offended by the way you live, maybe they need to look into their life a little more. Mm-hmm. Anybody that gets offended, it's generally something that's within them, not whoever, quote unquote, offended them. Mm-hmm. So put your mask on first. That's not a COVID thing, not a COVID mask.
Yeah, I was waiting on that.
No, not a COVID. Put your oxygen mask. Get your orders in line.
Yeah.
Get your affairs straight.
Awesome. We're going to end it there. That's awesome. Thank you,
Good.
Jim.
Thank you for having me, brother. I always enjoy it.
Yeah, Elevated Silence. I'll put links in the description below, and make sure and check him out on Instagram for sure. I think you're most active on Instagram, right?
Yep, I got a guy that handles all that, thank God.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
Out.